Hey, Ryan, a letter came in with like a dragon symbol on it.
Oh my god, is it finally my time to prove myself in a Mortal Kombat tournament? Let's go. Alright, let's see here. Alright. Dear Ryan, you have absolutely not been chosen to defend Earthrealm. You are simply far too lazy, unskilled, and honestly, you could use to lose a few pounds. Bro, just call me the fucking Timu Bo Raicho while you're at it. Sorry if this sounds cruel, but I am confident you would get your spine ripped out your scrot upon first encounter with any combatant. So if you could kindly send an invitation to your brother Mungoro instead, that would be great. Live, laugh, love, Lord Raiden. Are you kidding me? Bro, Mongoro hasn't been relevant in like 6 years. I'm the one that beat Ethan Nestor in Creator Clash 2, so why is he getting all the attention? You know what? I ought to prove myself. Alright, Raiden, check this shit out.
Test your might.
Ah! Fuck!
Sorry.
Man, no, I'm never gonna learn how to unlock my persona.
Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to another video. This time around I'm going to be talking about all of the Mortal Kombat movies. Yes, it's finally time. So I don't know if you could tell, especially by my last two videos, but I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan and there's a new movie coming out soon. So I wanted to look at all of the movies, some of which I've seen before. There are currently 3 live action movies and 4 animated movies, so we have to get started with the first ever Mortal Kombat movie, Mortal Kombat from 1995.
And our world is theirs.
It has begun!
Alright, so here we are, and here's what I have to say. I don't think that it would be wrong to call this a bad movie or a not good movie. However, there is a little addendum to that in which I think that this is still a fun and entertaining movie. It's the 90s and things are going to be a little bit over the top, a little bit goofy, but ultimately, hopefully out of that, you can expect some shenanigans that at least give you a fun time. And I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, that's kind of what I see this movie as. It is definitely corny and goofy, and some of the acting is interesting. I enjoy these types of movies where it's definitely leaning more on the goofy side, and I don't even know if a lot of it is intentionally, funny, or if it's just that they're taking the source material so earnestly. Like, it's not being played as a joke, I don't think. The thing is, Mortal Kombat as a franchise, as a story, as an entity, has always been over the top. It's been a little bit goofy. I mean, the fatalities that started basically that put Mortal Kombat on the map kind of lean into that, like it is something that you're not supposed to take too seriously. And that's, I think, kind of what this movie is doing. Like, it is adapting its source material earnestly, but you still shouldn't be taking it too seriously because it's Mortal Kombat at the end of the day. So this is something that you're going to notice a lot with any Mortal Kombat media. A lot of it is going to go back to we're at the Mortal Kombat tournament, which is held every fucking millennia or whatever, and you have to win 10 in a row in order for your realm to be able to invade the other. And wouldn't you believe it, Outworld, the evil realm, has won 9 out of 10 tournaments, and we're at the 10th. So the story is something that if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you've seen before. Honestly, nothing here is that special either. Our main cast of like Earthrealm defenders or heroes are Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade, and Liu Kang, and there aren't really any others for some reason, which I actually don't mind because at least for like a movie, I feel like it needs to kind of focus a little bit more. So I actually don't mind that it's just 3 heroes this time around. I think that it helps keep things good for the characters as opposed to like them just being here and existing. There are of course other characters in this movie that do feel that way. Sub-Zero and Scorpion are notoriously really bad in this movie. They are Shang Tsung's lackeys and they are basically just here to fight people, and they're not even really that intimidating. They get beaten very easily and it's very disappointing for arguably the most iconic characters of the franchise. Now, that isn't to say that everything about them or about characters like that is bad, because I enjoy seeing little cameos of characters that I know, unless it's Reptile in this movie. I don't want to see that. that thing is an affront to God and needs to be burned in the nether realm. If you don't know, Reptile's a, for some reason, really small CGI, like 3D rendered reptile, kind of. But like, as I was saying, some parts about this stuff is good. Like Scorpion's fight with Johnny Cage is actually like really good. Oh, well, that's not entirely true. See, Scorpion also has his famous kunai, the little rope weapon that he uses. And the problem is that in this movie, it's a live creature. I don't know why. It's not good. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Ultimately, what I think I come away liking the most from this movie is the vibes. All of the like sets and locations that they use are really good. I think even to an extent, the effects are pretty good. Goro is in this and he's a practical puppet. It comes at a cost to a degree because they're not able to do as much with that because there's just a limitation to what they're capable of using Goro for, even though Goro is supposed to be like kind of the big bad, like he is the most threatening combatant that they have to face. So there's some pros and cons here, but I do think that it adds to the vibes, right? Like when you see a big Goro that is a puppet that's an animatronic, that just adds such beautiful vibes to the movie, I think. The other thing that I like most about this movie is the music. The music is like fantastic. It's just one of the best parts about this movie for me. I think it's incredible. And then I guess lastly, I'll talk about the characters because I think that the characters are interesting. In the beginning, Liu Kang is kind of a punk. he's kind of a punk through the whole movie, but in the beginning, he's especially a punk. And I just really like that. I think that's funny because Liu Kang is usually like a goody, and I think that that's cute and funny. Also, the other weird thing about Liu Kang is that Liu Kang originally does not believe in any of this. Like he's been told that he's to defend Earthrealm in the tournament, but he's like, guys, this isn't real. You're crazy. The other thing about Liu Kang is that he is the descendant of Kung Lao. I don't even think they call him the great Kung Lao in this movie, but he is the descendant of Kung Lao. Also, he has a little brother that gets killed by Shang Tsung. So, you know, he has some stakes in this. Johnny Cage is, well, he's pretty much what you would expect. I think he's actually weirdly a more tame version of Johnny Cage, which I weirdly like. I forget who the actor is, but I actually really like this Johnny Cage. I think that he's pretty good, but I like what he does in this movie, and I like his little quips and jokes, and I like that he ends up being like a generally pretty good guy. In the original like story for the games and whatever, Johnny Cage kind of remains the Johnny Cage that you think of for a while. In this movie, he ends up very quickly being like doing stuff because he has an ego, but for the sake of the people around him. Like he chooses to fight Goro so that he can save Sonya, and he thinks that he can take on Goro, which is his ego, but he's saying ultimately, I don't want this person that I like to get hurt or killed by Goro, so instead I'm going to fight him. Sonya is also fun. She's here looking for Kano. She's kind of like the least interesting, I think, of the main 3. She doesn't have as much going for her. At one point, Raiden talks about how each of them have like a fatal flaw, essentially. Sonya's is that she's unwilling willing to accept help. And so she has to learn to become a damsel in distress and accept help. And I just find that a little weird. It's fine if you're like, yeah, you should have like teamwork and stuff. You should allow that more because she should. But the fact that it's like, you should become a damsel in distress and not fight for yourself and let the other people do it for you. I'm like, huh, what? Oh, okay, I guess. And then we have Raiden, played by Christopher Lambert, and yeah, that was a choice. There's some charm to this Raiden. He has more personality than some versions of Raiden because he jokes around a little bit more. He does certain things that kind of feel more personable, so I appreciate that. But also, what is he doing? What is Christopher Lambert doing? Kano is also here. He gets defeated very quickly and very early on by Sonya. The thing about Kano is that he's kind of more of like a goofy slob in this movie, but I actually don't mind that. There's something that I enjoy about seeing Kano as kind of like a little dumb idiot. I don't know, there's something charming about that. I mean, Katana is also in this movie and she's just kind of fine. She and Liu Kang have the typical chemistry that they end up having, but she's barely in this movie, so it doesn't really work too good. And the main standout of this movie that I have to call out is Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa. He is absolutely incredible as Shang Tsung. I think that he is potentially the best Shang Tsung that has ever been. He passed away in 2025, so I don't want to say rest in peace. He's insanely good in this movie, and one of my favorite parts about it. Ultimately, I think this first live action movie is goofy, silly, but entertaining. But it's time for the next movie.
Every generation, an ancient gateway opens that links the earth with another world. But this time, the ultimate evil has been released.
All right, now we have Mortal Kombat Annihilation from 1997. This is the sequel to Mortal Kombat, of course, and this is the one that most people will say is a dogshit movie. I will agree with people and say that it's not a good movie, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people put it out to be. I think in some regards, it's actually even more entertaining than the first one. I'm going to rank all the movies at the end, but I know that I don't think that this is better than Mortal Kombat 95, okay? I do not think that. Like, I've seen reviews where people are like, this is the Room of video game movies, and I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think it's that bad. It has a so bad it's good quality to it. I wish that more people could enjoy it like that, but I understand why that's not for everyone. Ultimately, the way that I would describe this movie is an incomprehensible mess that just kind of does shit because it wants to. If you don't know, the plot of this movie is that despite winning the tournament in the previous movie, Shao Kahn, the leader of Outworld, has decided to nonetheless merge the realms. Ultimately, the story, like I said, is fairly incomprehensible, so it's not like I need to explain things much. All you have to know is that Shao Kahn is evil. He brought back Sindel. Sindel is Katana's mother. Sindel is evil. Liu Kang goes and does something, and Raiden goes and does something, and Sonya goes and gets Jax, and that's kind of it. And then there's just a bunch of fight scenes mixed in, like a lot. Oh, and in case you were wondering why I didn't mention Johnny, that's because he dies. Like at the very beginning of the movie, they kill Johnny Cage, and that's a choice to make for sure. I don't know why. I think because they were bringing Jax into the story, that they were like, well, we can't have too many characters, so we gotta kill off one of these bozos. And well, Sonya has Jax, Liu Kang has Katana, so sorry Johnny, it's your time to go, buddy. So the one thing that I'm going to say that I think a lot of people will be upset with me by is the fact that overall, on a whole, I think that Annihilation has the better actors and performances, or at least the more enjoyable ones to me. I actually think Sonya, because they recast Sonya in this movie, I enjoy a little bit more. Liu Kang is still Liu Kang, and I think he's even better in this movie. Raiden has been recast, and I think that on mostly all accounts, this is a better Raiden than Christopher Lambert, so I'll take it. Let's see, I think Sindella's fun. I think Shao Kahn is... He's not what I was expecting for Shao Kahn, but by the end of the movie, I liked this version of Shao Kahn. He's a goofy guy and not like this big powerhouse intimidation man. I don't know, he has weird mannerisms that I appreciate. Sub-Zero is better in this movie. Like, there are more characters that I like. So, yeah, there are so many characters in this. Motaro, Shiva, and Jade are all in this. And I say that those three because they kind of play more of a role. I think each of them are good. I enjoy all of them. Oh, I didn't say this, but I think that Jax is also very good. I think that he's very enjoyable in this movie. I like him a lot. Jade is interesting because she shows up and then she's working for the bad guys, but she tries to seduce Liu Kang, and then it kind of works, and then he's like, no, I'm in love with Kitana, who I met yesterday, basically. The other thing is Nightwolf is in this movie. It's not good. The whole thing is that Liu Kang is sent on a quest to find Nightwolf, or rather he's told that Nightwolf will find him for some reason. He's to learn something from Nightwolf so he can be prepared for the final battle. And what does Nightwolf teach Liu Kang? He teaches him how to unlock his animality, which is just basically a persona. They can just turn into animals. It's not even an animality where it's like you kill the other person as the animal. It's you just get to be that animal. Like Nightwolf shows up originally as like part wolf. He has a werewolf head basically, and it looks weird and goofy. Ultimately, it's not important because even in the final fight, when Liu Kang is fighting Shao Kahn and he turns into a dragon to fight Shao Kahn, it doesn't add anything to the fight. Well, actually, no. It retracts from the fight because it looks horrendous and doesn't change anything, doesn't give it an advantage. It's just purely there to be there, I guess. So yeah, you can just basically ignore everything about that Liu Kang plot in this movie, and it doesn't matter. Is the thing. Also, speaking of Shao Kahn, for some reason they call him Kahn, which number one doesn't make sense because Shao Kahn, if you're taking that as a full name, Shao is the first name, so why are you calling him by his last name? That's fucking wrong and weird. Second of all, Kahn is a title. It's King of Outworld, basically, is what it means. So when you're calling him Kahn, you're saying King, you're going, yeah, we gotta defeat King. No, stop. It's wrong. I don't know why it pissed me off, but it pissed me off. The other weird thing, which I actually like, is that Raiden and Khan are brothers, and they're both offspring of Shinnok. You know, the elder god Shinnok. So I find that very interesting. I actually like this because I think it adds some depth to the movie, and it creates an interesting dynamic between the characters. I actually thought that this was like one of the more interesting decisions that they made for this movie, because like if you're already gonna change stuff, you might as well make it good stuff. Apparently the Shao Kahn Raiden lineage have dragon birthmarks, kind of, which is what we see in the new live action movie, right? I don't know why they did that, because it's another thing where they put it in the movie, but then it doesn't really matter at all. I don't understand why they do it. I will say that I don't think that the action or fight sequences are better in this movie. I actually think they're worse than the original. The music is still pretty good. I think that it's kind of just the action that doesn't work as much for me. I don't know how to describe it. I feel like it just wasn't thought out as much. It was just kind of like, let's have them fight. And then that was kind of all they thought. There are some fun fights. Like I enjoy when Cyrax, who is a cyber robot at this point, shows up and fights Sonya and Jax. I think that's a fun one. Also like Cyber Smoke is here, which is weird because they have Cyrax and they have Smoke, but not Sector. And if you're going to have Cyrax, I feel like you have to have Sector. So I just found that weird. I keep coming back to Sindel in my mind because she has, I think, maybe the most infamous line in the movie where she goes,
"You're alive. Too bad you will die."
but other than that, for some reason, I really like Sindel in this movie. I don't know, I just think that she's fun. I don't have much more to say because that's kind of it. I feel like I've covered everything. Oh, actually, you know what? One thing that I am ashamed to admit made me laugh the hardest in this movie is, so when the realms are merging, you know, we see different world landmarks kind of make an appearance as they pop up in places they shouldn't be, like the Eiffel Tower and whatnot. And then at the end of the movie, when they save the day, when Shao Kahn is dead, they kind of just show like a slideshow of the world monuments back where they should be, and they have like a little bit of lightning effect going over it, and it's like it's just going through some of them, like the Eiffel Tower is one of them and whatever. One of them is just the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center, and obviously before, you know, 9/11, but it was just, I'm sorry. It just tickled me. It tickled me good. I think that's all I have to say about Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Next movie.
I can send you there, Hanzo. Hanzo is dead. Call me Scorpion.
All right, and now we have Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge from 2020. Just to get this talk about it right now, there are 4 animated movies, and 2 or 3 of which come out after the new Mortal Kombat from 2021, the live action one. I'm going to be talking about that one last, though, because it just makes more sense to talk about that one last and do all the animated ones together. So we're starting with Scorpion's Revenge, and would you believe it? It's the Mortal Kombat tournament. Outworld has won 9 out of 10 tournaments, and they are set to win the 10th, and fucking god damn it. So the interesting thing about these movies for me is that when I was watching them, they really have a vibe of an R-rated Scooby-Doo movie, and that's primarily because it's by Warner Bros. Animation. Like, the animation style is a little bit too similar for my liking, not in a way that I think is bad, in a way that just makes me go, oh, this is like Scooby-Doo, and then it's not Scooby-Doo. I think the Scorpion's Revenge is honestly a quite very good movie. The animation is quite good. I think that it fits the franchise well. They lean into the brutality of it all, not the finisher, the word, the adjective. They make things quite violent. They animate it violently. They have these really cool like frames, like animation frames, where they do like basically an X-ray like from the video games, and I think that that's really cool. It helps make this really feel like a Mortal Kombat movie. But yeah, it's a fucking tournament again. We got Johnny Cage, we got Sonya, we got Liu Kang. I think it's just those 3 again. I do like what they do with this one. They make the tournament a little bit different, at least in appearance. Like, they get teleported to like different places where they have to fight their opponent. Now, obviously, Scorpion's Revenge is in the title of the movie, and I think that that is kind of the most interesting part about this movie, is the way that it follows Scorpion. It starts with him coming back with his son. I think his wife is already dead or something. Basically, it's the whole thing where Sub-Zero was there and killed everyone for the Lin Kuei or whatever. And so we get to witness Scorpion seeing all of his clan and family get killed, and then he swears revenge on Bihan Sub-Zero. And yeah, it's what you expect, but it's really good in this one. I was expecting this to be more Scorpion focused, but Scorpion is basically just the 4th main character alongside the other 3, which I don't mind. I just thought he was going to be more prevalent considering the movie is named after him. But basically, he comes back, he's at the tournament, Quan Chi is manipulating him into, he wants a key. He wants Scorpion to get a key from Shang Tsung, and Raiden interferes and is like, I wouldn't do that if I were you, Scorpion. This will do nothing for you. If Quan Chi is to get his hands on that key, then he will be able to find the last Kamidogu, which will allow him to revive the mad god Shinnok, which It's a whole thing, man. We'll get into that in the next movie. But ultimately, I really like this portrayal of Scorpion. A lot of what happens in the games is you have to see Scorpion kind of process things off camera more. Like you see his vengeance side, and then you see the side where he's like realized that he shouldn't focus on anger so much. You don't really see that in between. In this movie, you do see that in between, and I really like that. He comes off as like this is gonna sound weird. He comes off as a sweetheart, and it's honestly quite cute. Basically, he ends up helping like Johnny, Sonya, and Liu Kang in this movie when they're dealing with outside reinforcements from like Kano and whatever. Basically, he's like, I'm gonna help you out. I hate you. You're annoying and you have the wrong goal in mind, but I'm gonna help you. I think it's very... Sorry, I'm laughing at myself because I instinctually was going to say it's very tsundere of him. And I'm gonna stick with that because that's kind of true. At some point, Sonya gets like taken by Kano's goons or whatever. Johnny goes off to help her because Liu Kang is like, it's in your destiny to, I don't know, find this girl because you want to have love with her. And then Liu Kang goes off and he has to fight Goro in order to, you know, win the tournament. And Scorpion goes off on his own, basically because he has a beef with Sub-Zero to finish. So he finishes him, also along with himself, basically, kind of. He kills Sub-Zero. They're on the pit, like, stage, basically, and they both fall over and they both impale themselves on a big old spike down at the bottom. And Quan Chi shows up while they're both there. Sub-Zero's dead. Scorpion's hanging on. Basically, he goes, "You fool. It was me the whole time. I'm the one that killed your fucking family, idiot." You do also see a hint of this when Scorpion is initially going to fight Sub-Zero. Like he's like, "You killed my family, you will pay." And Sub-Zero, I don't remember if he starts a sentence or if it's just visual, but he's kind of like, What are you talking about? I had nothing to do with that, man. I was not there, man. I don't know what you're talking. And then he gets killed. So I don't know. I think it's fun. And then you think that Scorpion's dead. He's not, though, because it's Scorpion. And then Liu Kang is fighting Goro. And would you believe it? Liu Kang actually basically loses. Like, he would be dead if not for Scorpion, who shows up and kills Goro. Again, Scorpion, kind of a cutie pie in this movie. But also another weird thing, Quan Chi shows up. Basically, he plans on taking the key from Shang Tsung and, you know, whatever. They don't do the Deadly Alliance at all. And then Scorpion ends up with the key and Shang Tsung gets killed, I think, by Scorpion. And then because Shang Tsung is dead, the island is collapsing and it collapses with Scorpion and the key together while Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya escape, and all is happy and well. One of the things that I don't love about this is that I don't think the voice acting is great all the time. For instance, Joel McHale plays Johnny Cage. Joel McHale kind of feels like a Johnny Cage character in real life, so it makes sense. But something about his voice acting in this movie in particular just doesn't really hit, doesn't really work that great for me. I think that Raiden is pretty good in this movie. He's not super present, but I do think that he kind of, again, has more of a personable attitude to him. And like ultimately at the end of the day, there are some characters that are just kind of here in this one. Like Kano's usually a big part of Sonya's story, but he gets killed so easily and so quickly. He's barely in this movie. He's barely a thought in this movie. Kitana is also here technically, who's played by Grey Griffin, aka Daphne from Scooby-Doo, so fuck yeah. Sub-Zero Bihan is played by Steve Bloom, who is like the Sub-Zero in the games for me. Scorpion is played by Patrick Seitz, who is Scorpion in Mortal Kombat 9 and 10. And then Jax is played by Ike Amadi, who is Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat 11 and 1, and Cyrax in Mortal Kombat 11. So I like seeing some of the game voice actors get to play some characters here. And yeah, I think that this is a good movie. It's entertaining. I like the story beats that they do. I like that it differs from what you typically see with the tournament, because we've seen the tournament so many times before. They gotta switch things up, you know what I'm saying? Like having Liu Kang lose basically is insane. So yeah, I think it's a good movie, but it's time for the next one.
I offer an end to the bloodshed.
A final tournament that will determine not just the future of our realm,
but the others as well.
Alright, and now we have Mortal Kombat Legends Battle of the Realms from 2021. Alright, so this movie serves as a direct sequel to Scorpion's Revenge. We are following the same general plot where Shao Kahn is trying to invade. He's basically sending in forces to Earthrealm, and then he shows up to Raiden and he's like, I have a proposal for you. I can kill you now, or we can do a thing where I propose a final tournament to end all tournaments, and if you win, I will never invade ever again, and we won't have any more tournaments. And Raiden accepts, and so then they prepare for this final tournament, and then we see this final tournament. And then the final act is Shinnok revives the One Being because he got the final Kamidogu, and then Liu Kang turns into a dragon and fights the One Being who is merging the realms. Okay, so here's the thing. We have Scorpion and Sub-Zero plot alongside with Shinnok sending people to try and get Scorpion because Scorpion's alive, but his soul has fused with the key. Remember the key from the last movie? So he wants to retrieve Scorpion so that he can open the thing to get the final Kamidogu to summon the One Being, and will merge the realms so that like they're no longer realms. It's just one thing which will like kill everyone, and you know, typical evil stuff. And the problem is that I really like the Scorpion and Sub-Zero stuff because they have a very interesting dynamic and story going on here, and I enjoy, honestly, I think their stuff more than like the quote-unquote main plot, which is the final tournament. It's just kind of the ending where they do unlock like Shinnok's One Being, and then there's a big final boss, final act thing, and I'm like, well, why was Shao Kahn in the final tournament, not the final act? Why did we have to add this whole other thing? It becomes a bit of a mess, and it's not great personally. I will say that I think that the voice acting has improved in this movie. For the most part, it's the same voice actors. I mean, we get other characters added, so there are also new voice actors, but I think generally speaking, I think that even like Joel McHale and Jennifer Carpenter as Sonya and Johnny are better this go around. So that's something that I appreciate for sure. Another interesting thing here is that Raiden sacrifices his godhood in order to fight in this final tournament alongside his little heroes. I really enjoy this Raiden. I think that this Raiden is honestly very good. It adds a lot to the story. We see that Raiden is willing to give up his own life to defend Earthrealm, which is something that he's never really had to do before. Normally he just kind of has to rely on his heroes, but this time he's there and he's gonna do it himself also. I mean, he dies, but that's besides the point. Of the new characters, we have Kung Lao finally, which is interesting. And then we also have Stryker for some reason. Jax is also more of a character here. So, there's different things going on. As you can imagine, Stryker doesn't end up being that important. He ends up dying. What might surprise you is that Kung Lao is really kind of a nothing character. He also dies. The problem here is that when he dies, they play it off like it's supposed to be some big tragic moment and like, oh my god, they killed Kung Lao, and Liu Kang has this big reaction to it because Kung Lao is basically his brother, and the entire time as a viewer you're kind of going, yeah, but I'm not attached to this because Kung Lao's not really anything to me. So there's like this dissonance happening where it's like they're playing it like it's this real big deal, but you as a viewer don't really care. This is the part that I was like, ooh, okay, this movie was cooking a little bit. They got cooks in the kitchen. Is that when Raiden is dying, he basically says something along the lines of like the love that he has for Earth or something, and then he starts to say, and I love you. But then he gets killed before he can finish that sentence, and I go, oh god. Having Raiden say that to Liu Kang, ooh, chef's kiss, because yeah, Raiden has always kind of been like a father figure to Liu Kang, so him saying that or trying to say that is like, oh my god, that was good. And then for the Scorpion and Sub-Zero plot, so this time it's Kuai Liang Sub-Zero. Basically there is some random grandmaster that I don't know the name of that is of the Lin Kuei, and he is doing the cyber initiative. Shinnok has gone to the grandmaster to have them retrieve Scorpion Scorpion in order to use the key. And so the Grandmaster calls in Smoke and Sub-Zero, and he's like, I have a quest for you. But before that, Cyrax, Sector, come on out, boys. And then they're cyberdized. Smoke and Sub-Zero both go, hey, that's not okay. That's not right. And we don't want that for ourselves. And then the Grandmaster's like, well, that's a shame because I'm going to force it upon you. They successfully cyberdize Smoke, which is tragic. And then the Cyber Linque go after Scorpion. Sub-Zero is also going after Scorpion, but for revenge. I really like this like role reversal because typically it's Scorpion who is the one that's on his like vengeance path. But this time we see it as Sub-Zero who is after Scorpion for killing his brother, and I think that that's pretty cool. So yeah, we see Sub-Zero chase after Scorpion and fight him several times. Sub-Zero also has to stop all of the cyber ninjas so that he can kill Scorpion instead of them killing Scorpion. I really like the interactions between the two. Basically, Scorpion has to do the whole thing like, I've been down that path, the vengeance path, but it is not me, it is Quan Chi who did it. Well, actually, that's not true. Scorpion does admit that it was his fault, and he's like, I will forever regret that I killed your brother. So I genuinely really like it. Anytime I get to see a little bit of a bromance between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, I get just a little bit extra happy because I think they're cute as friends. I mean, enemies to friends or enemies to lovers, if you want to go that far, which I do always. As for the villains, I think Shao Kahn is quite fun. I think Shinnok is really creepy looking and creepy sounding, so I think he's fun. But then, he gets the final Kamidogu, he summons the One Being, and then the One Being is like basically Shinnok's like big horn form from Mortal Kombat X, probably more than Godzilla sized. Yeah, and then they do a fight. There's some fun moments when this is happening. Like Sonya has basically a version of her Kiss of Death fatality where she puts a grenade in someone's mouth and then she has the pin in her hand and she like does the kiss with the pin to show that she pulled the pin and then he explodes. So, they're fun moments, but ultimately it just ends up being kind of a clusterfuck. I will say one thing that I love about these movies is that they have a lot of good references to the games and source material. Some of the characters will have outfits from the games, or like Shang Tsung does his Mortal Kombat 9 fatality on Stryker in this. And I'm like, whoa, that's fun. And then Kung Lao basically has the back bend where he puts the person on his back and the hat falls on, like that fatality. He basically has that happen to himself. Also, Kung Lao is voiced by Matthew Lang King in this, who is the voice of Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat 11 and 1. Smoke and Stryker in this movie are voiced by Matthew Mercer, who voiced Stryker in Mortal Kombat 9. So yeah, just fun stuff here. Also, this movie opens with Ultra Instinct Shaggy coming out of the Warner Bros. Logo and doing a get over here to get Scorpion. That's just good. I like it. It's time for the next movie, though.
All you have to do is pledge your loyalty. All kneel before King Kano.
All right, now we have Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind from 2022. Now, this is an interesting one because it's the most separated from the other animated movies. The twist is that the reason being is that this is an alternate timeline because we're using the Kronika's Crown hourglass thing from the games to show that there are different timelines happening. And so this is a timeline where Kano has become the wielder of the hourglass and made a world for himself where he gets to be King Kano and rule the world in like a Mad Max style type of world. I like how different this is. At the end of the day, I think that this one doesn't feel the most like a Mortal Kombat movie. Like it has the characters in it, of course, but it's drawing more from influences from other media like Mad Max and like, I want to say like Karate Kid style, like that type of movie, which I don't mind, but it does leave it feeling a little bit more like a movie with Mortal Kombat characters than a Mortal Kombat movie with Mortal Kombat characters, if that makes sense. So the main characters in this one are Kano, King Kano, Sub-Zero, who I believe is Kuai Liang Sub-Zero because he has the scar, and Kenshi Takahashi, who I was not expecting to be like basically the main character. Well, I should have, because it's Snowblind and blind is half of the name, but ultimately I wouldn't have expected a Mortal Kombat movie where Kenshi is like the main character. I like it. I deeply appreciate that because I like Kenshi, but I would not have expected that to happen. Other interesting things to note about this is that Tremor is relevant in a Mortal Kombat story. I mean, I'm happy. Believe you me, I am so happy, but God, that shocked me. The main like lackeys underneath Kano are Tremor and Cabal. Shang Tsung is also here, but he is serving Kano in a fun way. But yeah, I really like all of the main characters in this one. Basically, Sub-Zero in this one has kind of aged out of his powers. He no longer can really control them, so he refuses to use his cryomancy. He refuses to because last time he did that, which was like ages ago, he ended up killing a bunch of his own members and like a whole town of innocent people. But I think it's fun seeing a kind of like beleaguered Sub-Zero that, number one, really down on himself, but also just like, I'm not gonna do anything. But then he ends up being the mentor of Kenshi. Kenshi is like this pompous guy that he's almost akin to Johnny Cage in the beginning, where he's a little bit egotistical. He's looking to become like the strongest warrior. Basically, he wants to just be really good at fighting. Shang Tsung shows up and he's like, well, you just got beat up by Tremor, and I got a bit of a thing for you. See, you come from an ancient bloodline where there's a well of souls, and we should go there so that you can get the sword named Sento. You'll be really powerful after that. And then because it's Shang Tsung, it's a plot where Shang Tsung steals all the souls for himself so he can empower himself so he can beat Kano, which doesn't work. Shang Tsung ends up getting killed by Kano. But anyway, in the process, Kenshi gets blinded by the souls, and then Shang Tsung like pushes him down the well where he ends up finding the sword, and Sento talks to him and allows him to kind of be able to see, and so he escapes the well with Sento. He's given up on life, basically. He's like, I can't be a warrior anymore, and he ends up in the desert stranded, where Sub-Zero finds him, and then Sub-Zero mentors him, like I said, kind of Karate Kid style. Basically, Sub-Zero has to teach him that just because he's blind, he's not useless, and that he's very capable. It's very fun. I like it a lot. I would never have thought of putting Kenshi and Sub-Zero together as like a main pairing, but it really works well. As for the action in this movie, I think that it's fine. I don't think that it's as good necessarily as the other two movies, but I think that it's still well done. Weirdly, this movie and this movie alone forgoes the like X-ray thing that they've been doing, so I kind of miss that, and I'm a little sad that they got rid of it for this one. Other surprise characters that show up: Kira and Cobra from 3D era Black Dragon Mortal Kombat show up. They're not as important. They're, again, just kind of working for Kano. Also, Draw Min has a cameo. Wasn't expecting that, but Draw Min shows up, so that's pretty cool. Ultimately, at the end of the movie, basically Sub-Zero, I guess he made a deal with Scorpion a while ago where if he uses his powers, Scorpion will bring him to like Netherrealm or something, I guess. He goes to Scorpion, and Scorpion is like, you haven't used your powers, have you? And Sub-Zero says, no, but I'm about to, because he has to go and save Kenshi or help Kenshi fight Kano. The big end fight happens. It's very fun stuff. Kenshi has to, fight Tremor, because Tremor's kind of been his main adversary, so he has to fight and kill Tremor. Scorpion is also helping out, which I always appreciate seeing. And then Sub-Zero is the main one that faces off against Kano at the end. Sub-Zero fights him in like the hourglass room, so he discovers that, and he ends up killing Kano. And by the end of the movie, because Sub-Zero is being taken away to the Netherrealm, Kenshi's like, no, what about the Lin Kuei? And Sub-Zero's like, that is on you now. Either way, I think this is really great. Also, Ron Yuan, I might be pronouncing that wrong, plays Sub-Zero in this movie, and he was the voice of Scorpion in Mortal Kombat 11, so that's fun. Also, Yuri Lowenthal plays Cobra, and he was the voice of Smoke in Mortal Kombat 1. So, more game sector cameos. Yeah. Anyway, that's this movie. Time for the next one.
Everyone decent? Wow. Obviously, this is turning us both on. Can you feel that?
All right, and now we have Mortal Kombat Legends Cage Match from 2023. And this is the last of the Mortal Kombat Legends movies, last of the animated ones for now also. And this one, as you may have believed to learn, is focused on Johnny Cage. So the surprise twist of this one, at least surprising for me, because I thought that this was going to be another alternate timeline type of deal, but ultimately the surprise twist is that this is a prequel to Scorpion's Revenge. So I will say that this is the movie where I most like Johnny out of the animated ones. Now, because this is a prequel, this is pre-Johnny becoming kind of like he's a good guy, but he's not like a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still a smarmy Hollywood guy that is not the best person or best influence ever, but I think that that works for him in this movie because he still has enough character development, and he has enough like good guy moments where it's not like I'm watching someone that I don't like the entire time do stuff that I'm supposed to root for. He is still played by Joel McHale, but I also think that Joel McHale does a better job in this movie. I think that with each time he played Johnny, he did better. So ultimately, I'll say that this also doesn't necessarily feel like a Mortal Kombat movie, kind of like Snowblind. It has plenty of influences in like other 80s movies. This takes place in the 80s. Johnny Cage is like an action star. He's in the first Ninja Mime movie, or he's working on that first movie. His lead co-star, who is a famous actress, has gone missing, and Johnny is basically tasked with finding him, or Ninja Mime will basically be no longer, and that's a problem because this is supposed to be his big break. He's already like full of himself and think that he's like a superstar, but this will be like the big thing that will get him even bigger roles, basically, is the idea. Ultimately, he ends up going to the actress's house, and upon showing up, Ashra is there fighting. She's fighting Kia, who is part of the Brotherhood of Shadows. They work for Shinnok. The idea is that the Brotherhood of Shadows is here. We have Kia, we have Jataka, and we have Serena, who are all demons from the Nether Realm. So is Ashra, by the way, but Ashra is fighting the good fight. Not only do I love that this is a Johnny Cage movie, I love that it's an Ashra movie because I love Ashra. I think that she's so cool. I really like her in this movie. Basically, Johnny goes after her for a little bit because she has a scroll that they got from the actress's house, and it's, I don't know, it's this whole thing. So a lot of this movie ends up being kind of just like a little bit spy James Bond mystery movie influence, just going on a quest. He has an assistant who I forget the name of, might be Chuck, who I love, by the way. He's very fun in this movie. So basically we kind of end up with like a buddy cop type of movie. Ultimately, this movie doesn't have that much action, and I think that there are some parts of this movie that just kind of feel a little bit too generic. The best parts are when Johnny Cage is like fighting alongside people or fighting other people. I really like him and Ashra together. I really like Chuck and Ashra together. I like Johnny and Chuck together. I think there's a very fun dynamic that's going on there. Serena ends up showing up. The twist is that Serena is the actress that Johnny was after in the first place. Basically, they now need Johnny because he has god blood, which I think is fun. It's a fun reference to the games where he canonically is descended from like warrior gods or something. Basically, they summon Shinnok. Shinnok shows up, and then there's a whole battle sequence where Chuck and Ashra do their own thing fighting enemies, of which there are two visual cameos with Moloch and Dramin. Dramin showing up a second time, which is crazy, by the way. And then Johnny Cage has to fight Shinnok. This is the weird thing about this movie, or about this timeline, is that Johnny Cage fights and defeats an elder god, Shinnok, before ever being a part of the Mortal Kombat tournament. And I just think that's weird. And I don't honestly think that it fits super well either, which is why I'm confused why this ended up being a prequel. I feel like it could have just been an alternate timeline thing. And frankly, this is another entry in the franchise where I think the final act is a little underwhelming. Johnny Cage defeats Shinnok fairly simply. Like, Shinnok doesn't honestly do that much. So yeah, I think that this is a good movie. I enjoyed it. It's different. I would recommend all of the animated movies though if you haven't seen them. I think they're all good. But we have more game voice actor cameos and stuff like that. Ashra is played by Kelly Hu, who is Devora and Li Mei and Madame Bo. One of the agents named David is played by Gilbert Gottfried, so rest in peace. Kia is played by Greg Griffin, Daphne from Scooby-Doo. A guy named Brian is played by Phil Lamar, who is Kotal Khan and also Geras specifically in Mortal Kombat 1. Raiden is played by Dave B. Mitchell, who is Geras and Sector, both from Mortal Kombat 11. So I think we've covered that, and it's time for the next and final movie for now.
That dragon marking? I think it's an invitation to fight for something known as Mortal Kombat.
All right, and now we have Mortal Kombat from 2021. Yeah, it's a new live action Mortal Kombat. And this one, you know, it's fine. The thing about this movie is that it peaks within the first 10 minutes, and then the next like hour and a half are all just kind of boring, and then it gets good again for the last 10 minutes. So there's like 20 minutes cumulative maybe where I go, this is fucking awesome and really good. And then the rest of the movie I go, it's okay. Frankly, I don't think it's that great. The movie opens with the best sequence in the entire movie, and honestly maybe the best sequence in any Mortal Kombat movie. Like, it is genuinely incredible. So we open with Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion with his child, his eldest child, because there are two children in this game, and they're on the like Hanzo Hasashi compound is like what it's called or something, and he's known, I guess, as like one of the greatest warriors in the world. And then Bihan Sub-Zero shows up and does the thing that you'd expect and kills the wife and child, eldest child of Scorpion, and then Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight, and it's fucking awesome. Scorpion also kills other people, like other Lin Kuei members before this, so, you know, that's also awesome. Like, all of this is just, oh god, it's peak, brother. And then Bihan kills Hanzo, and well, Hanzo goes to hell. But then Raiden shows up, and Raiden finds Scorpion's youngest child, who's just a wee little bab at this point. And then we cut way ahead in time, because I was in like the 1600s or something. Now we have Cole Young, famous Mortal Kombat character Cole Young, who is bloodline lineage of Hanzo Hasashi, basically, is what it ends up being. And here's the thing. I genuinely think I could fix this movie with just a few little tweaks. Make Cole Young, instead of making him a new character, make him Kenshi or Takeda. Make him one of those two. It doesn't honestly really matter which. Both are well enough connected to Scorpion in the lore in the games where for them to be kind of Scorpion's bloodline makes sense to me. Like, you can change up who Kenshi or Takeda is, right? Like, you're allowed to change who those characters are. This could be an older version of Takeda, or it could be Kenshi and he doesn't lose his eyesight. At that point, it doesn't matter. I think that a lot of people are just like, who the fuck is Cole Young? I don't give a shit. But if you make it Kenshi or you make it Takeda, there you go. And then also, with that being said, like, you don't have the weird suit thing that Cole Young gets. Basically, they all have an aura, I forget what they call it. They have a special thing where if they have a mark to be in the Mortal Kombat tournament, which is again a physical mark that shows up on the body, Cole Young was born with it. If you kill someone with the mark, you get the mark. So that's how Kano ends up with his mark in this movie. But anyway, Cole Young ends up getting this weird like suit where if it takes damage, he can redirect it into like punches and stuff like that. And he has these fun weapons, but also just saying, if it was Kenshi or Takeda, you could have given whip swords, could have given a sword, like a samurai sword type of deal. But no, alas. The thing is, I don't hate Cole Young's thing in this movie, but I do think that it feels a little cheap. Like, what do you mean he can just absorb so many different blows and then redirect that? This seems a little weird to me, a little overpowered, frankly, but whatever. Here's the thing. I'm not going to shit on Cole Young too bad, especially not the actor, because I think the actor does a great job. I think that he's really good. I like most of the actors in this movie. I think they're all fairly decent. I wouldn't say they're my favorite portrayers of the characters, except for like Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I think those two are really like spot on perfect. The rest of them, I just kind of like, yeah, you do a good job. I don't hate it. But anyway, like I said, there's a tournament happening, but actually there's not a tournament happening because Johnny Cage isn't here yet. So the weird thing about this movie, and I do genuinely find this very strange, is that they're preparing for the tournament and they have a set amount of time, but Shang Tsung is sabotaging things for Earthrealm by sending warriors to kill like the Earthrealm's champions, right? He's sending people to kill them, most notably Bi-Han, who shows up and he removes Jax's arms. Jax has lost his arms to so many different characters, by the way. It's really funny. Kung Lao dies again in this movie, which is crazy to me and also really disappointing because I feel like Kung Lao had a lot of potential and then they just killed him, and that makes me sad. Hopefully he returns as like a revenant, maybe. That would be fun, right? I actually liked Kung Lao more than Liu Kang in this movie, which is another reason why I'm sad or disappointed. Again, I think Liu Kang is fine. I just don't find him that interesting. Cabal is here. Reiko is here. Nitara is here. Oh, Melina too. I forget that it's Melina because they put Melina in here because Melina's a fan favorite, but this is not how you use Melina in a game, in a movie or a story. So honestly, she should not have been chosen. Basically, Sonya and Jax have done their own research to discover that there's a tournament called Mortal Kombat and they need to find Raiden. I don't know why they care, but they discover it on their own, I guess, which is how Jax shows up to save Cole Young from Bi-Han. And then Sonya has Kano like chained up, and Cole Young shows up at Sonya's because that's where Jax told him to go. And then Reptile shows up and it's just fully lizard form Reptile. They do a little fight. Kano frees himself, and then Kano leads Cole and Sonya to like Raiden's, I don't know, fucking temple in the desert for some reason. They're like, the tournament's happening, you need to learn your powers. Kano unlocks his first. Again, specifically only people with the mark can unlock their power somehow. So Kano unlocks his, which is the laser eye. Jax unlocks his, which is his arms, his metal mechanical arms get bigger and stronger. Okay, Cole Young gets his, specifically while he's fighting Goro, by the way, who is like the main boss of the tournament in the like games and everything. So the fact that Cole Young defeats Goro here is crazy to me, and a little weird utilization of Goro in my opinion. And ultimately Kano ends up turning on them because Cabal goes to him and is like, you get paid a lot more if you join us, and you know, he does stuff. This is where Kung Lao ends up dying, but not before Kung Lao gets an awesome fatality on Nitara, so that was very good. So all of that shit happens, and then they basically are like, well, if Shang Tsung's gonna play dirty, which is against the rules, we get to play dirty ourselves. They have Raiden send them to fight the characters one-on-one, so this is where you get some more fun action sequences, I guess. And then of course the final battle is where Bi-Han shows up, takes Cole Young's family. Cole goes after them. He has the kunai that Scorpion used back in the day, and it allows Scorpion to come back from the Nether Realm to get his vengeance. So we have another sick Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight with a little bit of help from Cole Young, but not too much. Once again, this is another best part of the movie, are the beginning and the end. It's fun stuff. Yeah, this movie, it's fine. I'm excited for the next one, but I'm gonna keep my hopes a little bit lower. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I think I'm done talking about this movie. It's time for me to rank the movies. All right, and now we must rank these movies. So in last place, I am going to put Mortal Kombat 2021. Yeah, I actually think the modern live action Mortal Kombat is the worst out of all of the Mortal Kombat movies, and that may be shocking to some, but to me, actually it was a little shocking to me because I rewatched it for this and I forgot how not great it was. Frankly, the best part of it is the beginning and ending with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and also just Kano, because Kano's funny and I like him in this movie. Not, frankly, a great movie. I think it's kind of just but has some really great sequences that help boost it some. In sixth place, we have Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't going to be very high up on the list, right? It's Annihilation. This is a movie that I would probably rewatch because I just think that it's dumb and stupid in like a fun way, and I enjoy that about it. I think that the characters are fun. I don't know, there's just something about it I like. It's kind of boring and underwhelming and not great at times, but there are aspects about it that lift it up for me. In fifth place, we have MK Legends Battle of the Realms. This is my least favorite of the animated Mortal Kombat movies. I just think that it's trying to do too much. The final act isn't that interesting. I think that it's a bit of a cluster. It gives some of the characters an opportunity to shine, but then it just kind of lets down some of the others. So I think it's a good movie. I would recommend all of the animated ones, but I think it's just my least favorite. In fourth place, we have MK Legends Cage Match. Again, I think that this is another good movie. I really like seeing Ashura get a main role in a story, and I think Johnny Cage is fun in it. Also, I forgot to mention, Johnny Cage's assistant Chuck is mocap. It's a mocap origin story. That's bonkers goo goo banana crazy time, but I love it. Anyway, I think that this movie is fun. I think it's a little bit boring because it's a little bit generic at times, but it has good moments. In third place, we have MK Legends Snowblind. I think that this is another good movie. I appreciate this for how original it is. I like the story that it goes with. I think that it feels like such a different take for the Mortal Kombat franchise, but I love that about it because it makes it feel more unique. I really like the characters in it. I don't really have much bad to say about it. I think it's overall very good. It's just not like my favorite of the movies. I think that it's great though. And then in second place, I think this is gonna surprise people, I have MK Legends Scorpion's Revenge. I mean, it's the first and the best of the animated movies, I think. I really enjoy Scorpion's story in it. I love his character. It's just another telling of the Mortal Kombat tournament, so it's nothing like that unique or special. I like that they changed things up enough to make it unique and interesting if you are a part of this franchise or invested in it like I am and you've seen so much of it. I like that it feels different, but it's not like the most unique thing. I just think that I fall short a little bit here and there, but ultimately a great movie and a great Mortal Kombat story. And that means in first place, I have Mortal Kombat from 1995, and I think that that will shock a lot of people because I don't think a lot of people like the live action Mortal Kombat movies, but to me, this is just the ultimate Mortal Kombat vibe based movie. To me, Mortal Kombat, I like it when it takes itself seriously, and this is taking itself seriously while also saying, hey, we are a ridiculous thing. This is ridiculous. So like, we're taking ourselves seriously, but you don't. Like, you're allowed to just have fun with this, just take in the vibes and feel it, and I appreciate that about it. I like a lot of the portrayals of the characters, and I think that this is just my favorite of the Mortal Kombat movies. Ultimately, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think any of these movies really surpass like a 3 or a 3.5 stars out of 5 for me. I think that at most, they're all just kind of good. Like, none of them are great, I don't think, personally, but I do think that they're all worth watching, so I would recommend watching all of them. Anyway, that's my Mortal Kombat video. I think this is the final Mortal Kombat video that I'm gonna do for my Mortal Kombat streak. Thank you all so much for watching. What are your thoughts on the Mortal Kombat movies? Which ones have you seen? Which ones do you like or vehemently dislike? Even if you like really like a movie that I wasn't as fond of, or you really dislike a movie that I liked a lot, I want to know what your thoughts are, because I honestly can see all sides to it, because these are not necessarily the best movies ever made. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!